morning. It's my pleasure to be here again. Yes, Frank left the city of Wildomar in January and went up to former city where he used to work, Santa Clarita. And we still keep in contact, and he's still sharing his wisdom with me and what to do with the city of Wildomar. So I appreciate that. It's great to be here and share this information with you. I mean, what a region that we live in, hearing all the great activities and events that are going on with all the other cities. And the city of Wildomar is proud to be part of that regional surge that we seem to be seeing now. Just a few slides. I know we've been here for a while. Listening to government speakers is, well, it's not the IRS, but it's not quite the same. Just a briefing about the city of Wildomar. Our city council, it's elected at large, 5 members. Our population now is approximately 33,000. We have about 24 square miles within the city limits, and we're about 62% built out, which means that we have about 30% more of growth to occur within the city. And that's one of the things that we really focus on is the growth and what's going to happen in the future. And that's how I've designed this presentation for this morning. A key fact is we have about 4 acres of parkland per 1,000 residents. And typically you have about 3 acres per 1,000. Some cities have a total of 5 acres of parkland per 1,000. And this gets back to what Aaron and Rob and Rick have been saying about quality of life issues. And this is something we're really focused on improving. Our parklands, recreational activities, community services, and that. So as we'll go through the presentation, I'll show you how we're going to improve upon that. The city of Wildomar, the boundaries, location, we share the 15 freeway with city of Lake Elsinore to the north and Murrieta to the south and Menifee to our east. And going to the west, we have La Cresta, the unincorporated county area going up the hill, which we take advantage of with our trails network that's always developing. The council members, this year we're pleased that Tim Walker's our mayor, Marcia Swanson, who many of you know, is our mayor pro tem, and then Ben Benoit, Bob Cashman, and Bridget Moore make up our council group. I used to be the finance director, so I got to take a minute and talk about finances. What I want to point out here to you, this is our general fund. On the right, on the left-hand side, your left-hand side, that was our budget that we're currently experiencing this year. And our revenues are projected at $6.7 million. And that's pretty small dollars to what we're used to seeing for cities. That reflects about a $1.8 to $2 million reduction that we and Menifee shared in when the state came in and took our motor vehicle license fee monies away. So we dropped, as you can see, we dropped from 8.7 on the far right-hand portion of the screen to 6.7. We're scheduled to finish in the positive this year, hopefully this year, adding another $4,400 to our current reserves of $1.4 million, or roughly 22%, which is a good number to have. You've heard 30% reserves, discretionary funds available, and so that's pretty healthy for a city at this stage of its growth. Go ahead. The interesting slide on property taxes. When we started the city back here, back in 2008, 2009, roughly $3.6 million of property tax revenue came into the city. That dropped, as you know, we've been going through some tough times with the economy and recession activities. So we're pretty stable now at about $3 million. We're looking for that to be the baseline to start our future growth. Roughly, we bring in, it's about $266 per household of revenue. People say, geez, I pay your salary. Well, yeah, $85.98. So when you add all these things up about residences and you're in real estate, I mean, it's very important to understand the cost and of cost of services that are being provided by cities. And one thing that we're very protective of going forward with Wildomar development is that all future development needs to be fiscally sustainable. We're not going to, if we're going to put in new streets, we need to have a funding mechanism that's going to keep those streets paved, fill the potholes, and striped so that they're safe for the community for a number of years in the future. Go ahead, Jen. Sales tax. Well, you saw, I think, what was it? You guys had about, what, $200 per resident? And word about, per resident, we collect about $43.78 of sales tax. Okay? So that's kind of on the lower end of the scale in the community. But we don't have much commercial development in town yet, and we will be developing that in the future. $135 per household sales tax comes into the cities. But you can see, typical of the economy over the past couple of years, how it's dropped and then starts, how we're starting to come back. So we have some real confidence in the future of the community in this region. One of my favorites, motor vehicle license fees. We're still going to audit these numbers to make sure they're correct. But what the sad thing is about this, I mean, motor vehicle license fee revenue started back, or motor vehicle license fees, the tags on your car started back in 1935, and it was locally controlled by the local governments. The monies went to the local governments and stayed there until about 92, 94. Then Sacramento started exploring other uses for the city's monies. And now you can see what they've done to it. But the sad thing is, when we fill out the registration, we write the check to Sacramento, pay for the registration on our vehicles, none of that money comes back to us. It stays up in Sacramento. And that's really the control issue that we all struggle with. How do we bring those monies that we're all paying down here, bring them back into this area? So that's a challenge for us. We have some legislation, as Rob mentioned, that's going forward, SB 56. Keep that in mind. Ideally, that'll go through this summer with a few changes to it and be presented to the governor for his review and hopefully signature August, September time frame as a trailer bill. A couple weeks ago, we were up in Sacramento with working with the governor's staff about how to make this an acceptable funding source for the city. You can just go to the next slide, Jeanette, before I share this. This is the slide we took up with Sacramento to kind of explain what this has done to our city. We had an $8.3 million budget before all this occurred. Then they took 22% or $1.8 million of the motor vehicle revenues away from us. So we cut police services 43%. We had at that time 32,700 residents, and they were being served by one patrol officer during the day. 2 of our 3 parks were closed. The picture you see, that's the open park. Our city hall services have been cut 20%, staff cuts, salary reductions, the typical change that occur with organizations. A term you're familiar with, loan modification. We did one with the county. It was approved a couple months ago. We owe the county, for our first year of incorporation, we used county services until we transitioned, stand on our own. We racked up a bill of about $1.4 million using those services. And by design, we were to pay them back over a 5-year time period. So we renegotiated that 5-year time period as that date was coming in about 2 weeks. We renegotiated that for 8 years. We had 8 more years onto that repayment period. So that'll help us out in the long term. And just a kind of an interesting note, City of Wildomar lost more motor vehicle license fee revenue than the City of Sacramento. Sacramento lost 1.7 million, we lost 1.8. City of Fresno, they lost 1.8 million, we lost 1.8. So just to show you the magnitude of what this has done to stall or put us on pause, and I'm sure Rob is feeling that also with Menifee. our plans. We started off incorporation with the city, a lot of great plans, a lot of great ideas, trying to move the thing forward, and then to get blindsided by this was quite a challenge, but we're coming back, and that's what this is about. General fund costs, how do we spend the money that we have kept? Basically, general government, community, but you can see how we've ramped down the expenditures. In community development, that's a sign of the economy that is sensitive to community development. Is primarily building, planning, safety, public works, engineering, or building safety and planning, and it's sensitive to building permits. If they're pulling building permits, then we have a lot of activity, expenses, and revenues associated with that. Public safety, you can see in fiscal year 2008 and 9, we're at about $5.5 million for police and fire services, and now we're spending about $4.6 million. So the reduction that's occurred there. And when we took that cut with police, what the sheriff's group did with us, and it was really a partnership. I really appreciate them helping us to figure out a novel way to deal with these funding reductions. We were on contract with them for 72 hours of service a day, and they reduced it down to 40 hours of service a day. Without that, we would have really had some fiscal issues. But what we also, we said, okay, sheriffs, you guys do that. Let us, management, we'll talk with our community, ask them to behave, not make all the calls that we would. Everybody participate in, let's get the neighborhood watches going. And that's worked out pretty well, We, a little bit late on some of the reports for auto theft, occasional lower priority calls. So that's basically our revenues. Look at the bottom line. General fund went from 9.6 million first starting the city down to about 6.7. But we're still here, so that's a good thing. Are we spending money? Are we wasting money? How do we line up? How does the city of Wildomar line up with other cities on a per resident basis? These are some cities that are similar to Wildomar. I kept the big guys out. Sorry, Murrieta and Temecula. It just didn't work out. What this shows you down at the bottom, orange box or yellow boxes, we spend about $208 of revenue. We collect about $208 of revenue per resident on the community, and then on expenditures we spend $208 per resident in the community. You can see how that stacks up to the other cities, how much money they invest in their residents. Beaumont, $794 per resident. Of course, they bring in $794 per resident also. I think they were the city with that marijuana house. Getting $1,000 a day fine from them. Yeah, so how do we do it? Okay, well, myself and Jeanette Morales. We have a city manager, city clerk, 2 administrative analysts. These are city employees. 2 administrative analysts, of which Jeanette Morales is one of, assisting me today. Manager of operations and maintenance, who's focused on our cemetery operations that we have down the street on Wildomar. And the groundskeeper, who's part of that organization also. So that's our city staff. That's our core group. But we're assisted by great contract vendors. And this is how we can fluctuate with the economy. If the economy goes up, we can tell the contractors, bring out more staff, we got more business, let's go. The economy's receding, like we've seen, we said, just don't call your guys, there's no work for them, we don't have money to pay them. So we appreciate the intern program, but if they're not part of it, we don't have a space for them. Interwest Group, fantastic vendors. They assist us providing public works, along with PV maintenance, building and safety. Our building official comes from the Interwest Group. Code enforcement, we provide that service, and then planning, we also work with PMC and provide our planning activities. I forgot the planning director. We added a planning director to our city staff, Matt Bassey, yes. So we have 6 city employees. MV Chang and Associates does a great job with our accounting and finance. Riverside County Sheriff, we contract with them, really responsive. could not be happier with an organization providing that key public safety element for us. And the Riverside County Fire Department, CAL FIRE, is providing the fire services for us. They did an excellent job. We just had a fire 2 days ago.
Yes, I saw it.
Yes, and that was scary because it was up in the hills, right? Almost, yeah, Grand and Gruel, yeah, up in the hills there. And had the wind shifted, it was going up the hill towards the crest. Had the wind shifted, it would have come down the hill and really threatened the housing track that was there at Wildomar Stone, I believe. Yeah, I was out there with that one also. And that was, did a great job. They put the resources, they had 2 planes, 2 tankers making the drops, and 2 helicopters, and then the command post up in the sky. Did a fantastic job with that. So what's in our future? Going forward, 6,500 new homes. That's what we can accommodate with our current general plan. 19,400 new residents coming into Wildomar. 506 acres of commercial development space available. 268 acres of industrial and business parks, office spaces. And like I said, the key thing to make this thing work for us is that all this development must be fiscally sustaining development. It's got to pay for itself. There is no subsidies from city's general fund or the existing residents paying taxes. It's got to stand on its own. That, going forward, one of our major projects is the Clinton Keith off-ramp. And yes, it's going to be a fantastic improvement, going from 2 lanes to 6 lanes, crossing the 15 freeway. It will be done in August 20th is the, not groundbreaking.
Ribbon cutting.
Ribbon cutting, there you go, thank you. It's been so long. Opened anything. So that will be occurring August 20th. I encourage you to attend. It's a public event. Some of the other activities, quickly, I mean, you've heard a lot about great projects that are happening in the area here, so I will just add to that briefly. Inland Valley, the emergency room expansion took place. KB Homes, these are projects that are 95% going to go, or they're already going. Wildomar Homes at on Palomar, that activity's taken. Now, some of these projects were other projects that were already approved and went out of business, and then another developer came in and bought them, and that kind of thing. So they weren't from the ground up type projects that we, Wildomar, had to say so in. They were still under county when they were approved. CD Communities is 156 homes that they're looking to open up or to start on Palomar, like that project in the near future. Oak Springs Ranch Apartments, right next, right behind City Hall. Clinton Keith and George, right where Albertsons is, they're right behind that. That's the project that's ongoing right there. It's an $86 million venture to put in the ranch apartments. There are 314 units, and perhaps phase 3 will be in some kind of comes along with it. The Oak Creek Canyon project that's out on Bundy Canyon. It's 275 new homes. And one of the key features of that project, it was just approved by the council to go forth with it, just approved, and then lawsuits. Yes, we've had a few. Another lawsuit was brought forward on this project too, so we'll deal with that. But this is an exciting project. One of the benefits of this is going to make some needed improvements to Bundy Canyon Road, right there where the farm is. So it's going to kind of straighten out that curve that's there. So we look forward to that. Bundy Canyon Plaza on the Circle K that's going in right off 15 Freeway and Bundy Canyon. There's a new Circle K being built. It's had some issues with storm drainage plans, and those have been resolved, so it's going to resume its construction process. It should be open shortly. Our subway center off of that's not mass transit, that's a sandwich shop. It's off of Bundy Canyon, right across from Elsinore High School. It was 2 years in the making due to lawsuits. To deal with the EIRs and the secret issues with it. That has all been resolved, so they will now be, it was a 10,000 square foot little shop. Yeah. So that's going to be open. That will start construction pretty soon here, pretty shortly. It's right across the street from the high school, right next to the Jack Oaks, right there on but he can't. So look forward to that. Things that are in the mill, they've expressed an interest, they've put down some money at their front counter to take a look at. These are some of the upcoming things that we'd like to see. Ramcom Medical Offices off of Clinton Keith over by the hospital centers there. We're looking at 36,000 square feet of office space. Spring Meadow Ranch, 1,275 new homes up by the farm, on the way to Menifee, just before you get to Sunset. Once known as the Sunset Ridge Project. Now taking a new name called Spring Meadow Ranch. So they have started the initial phases with us and looking at that. And we don't do anything with developers until the money is up there on deposit because we're cost-based. And they put the money in, so we've been working on that initial designs for that concept. Baxter Village off of 15 Freeway on the west side, where the Brown House is. There's a blue house that's up on crates that may be, preserved sometime in the future. That section there, they're looking at 75,000 square feet of retail, 204 apartments, 67 single-family dwellings. They met with local residents in the area to talk about concepts for that particular area. The Wildomar Square, which is right off of right where Clinton Keith and Hidden Springs, right where the construction is going on with the freeway. They're grading the dirt, using the dirt there to help out with the freeway construction. But that too is an approved development, which may be coming forward with a number of retail facilities there. Pre-look, 113 homes, 90 single-family dwellings, discussions, those about a project on that street. West Park Promenade, this is off Murrieta, just north of City Hall, east of the 15th Freeway, right behind the USA gas station there. That area going north, there was talk about 327 multi-family dwellings, 102,000 square feet of office space, and they're talking about a hotel area, or a hotel there also. So, pretty aggressive. They did put the money up, so we're talking, and hopefully that would come to fruition. So bottom line, there's an interest in Wildomar, as you've heard from the other cities, things are starting to pick up. And when these guys are serious, they're coming and meeting with us and bringing these conceptual plans, and it looks like, we've bottomed out, and now we're starting to slowly come back, but not at the roaring pace that we saw in the last bubble. This will be more substantiated with real money behind these projects. So what's coming up? Wildomar's Parks. Shining star for us in the future. As you know, we had the residents reinstated our park assessment tax of $28 a year per parcel. So that's a good thing. It took place last November. They approved it by 69% of the vote. So July 1st, we'll have money to reopen our parks and get that going again. So that's an exciting activity for us. July 2nd, Riverside County Board of Supervisors is holding a public hearing in which they're going to discuss deeding over the property to the city of Wildomar, right next to the Reagan School. It's over 20 acres, 22, 27 acres of property that's designated for parkland. Well, it's zoned rural residential, but it's designated for a sports park. But they'll be giving those parklands to the city upon completion of the public hearing July 2nd. So that's exciting. So we talked about 4/10 of an acre per thousand. Okay, we're starting to bring this back. We have 22 acres here with this park. The October 26th, guys, we have a plan for you on October 26th. Come to Wildomar Parks, help us out. We're going to be rehabbing all 3 of the parks. We're working with a major church group here in the community. They've put together what's called a Great Day of Service. They've done this in the past. And then the goal for this year is 500 volunteers to help rehab. Yes, our parks are in rehab. But to rehabilitate the parks and another $200,000 in donations and supplies is what that's the goal, to get all 3 parks back up to par. We're going to be closing off Marna, which is our largest park, 10 acres. It's got 3 baseball fields, so we'll have no baseball, no football, no soccer on that field for about 3 months while we reseed everything. So it's going to cause a lot of issues, but we'll plan for that too. So we'll be reopening our parks between August and February of 2014 as we make them safe and rehab them or rehabilitate them. We'll be having soft openings, but everything should be open by February. Murrieta Creek Trail, the guys talked about this. This is something all of us are involved with, National Park Service and Sierra Club. And it's Murrieta Creek Trail. You know, as a kid growing up, we were down to the beach. I used to walk to the beach because it was close. I said, yeah, it's a great way to spend the summer. Well, this Murrieta Creek Trail, working with Park Service, National Park Service, and Sierra Club and our cities here, is to open up, is to have the trail open, a consistent trail with signage and, you know, stations and staging areas and that, from the south of, what's the park? Petrie Park? South Elsinore, wherever the South Elsinore Lake is, there's a park. I think it's Petrie Park. Starting there, going all the way through Wildomar, through Murrieta, and then quickly through Temecula so we don't spend money. There'll be no rest areas. And then the trail will take you all the way out to the coast. So ultimately, you'll be able to go from Lake Elsinore all the way to the coast. So that's just going to be amazing when that's completely opened up. Like I said, when I was a kid, I used to walk to the beach. Now my kids can walk to the beach. It might take them a little bit longer. They'll still have the opportunity, with no snow. No snow. So that's a great project. So I mentioned that our parks are going to be closed down while we do the rehab of that. But we do have, we partnered with the Little League in the area. And at our cemetery, which is just to the east there, one of the parcels of the cemetery, we had 2 ball fields that were operated by Wildomar Little League. So we have partnered with them to let the city utilize those, make those parks available for general public and not just for the Little League. So we'll be using those baseball fields, sporting areas while our parks are closed and going through rehab. So we will have something to offer on the interim area. So that's basically all the activities that is going on right now. Well, so thanks again. Appreciate the opportunity.